Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastvanirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaha Te Mayi Santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been seeing different facets of why do we need Bhagavan, or how to do Siddhi of Ishwara. Bhagavan Shankaracharya is doing everything for us. We just have to follow along whatever different points Bhagavan is bringing. Whichever text of Vedanta, wherever we have seen any discussion about Karma Phala, Karma, Bhagavan in a logical way, the source of all that discussion is from this Bhashya. It's a great joy to take dip in Gangaji, in Rishikesh, in Haridwar. But if you go to Gaumukh, that's a different joy. Going to the source of that river. So this is the Gaumukh of all karma discussions, karma siddhanta, and also Ishwara Siddhi. The fundamental discussion points are from here. So there are several facets of what Bhagavan has been telling us. One is, Bhagavan says, the Purva Paksha said, why can't karma itself decide result of action? So Bhagavan had mentioned there are few facets of karma that we should appreciate. One is, karma depends on Karta. Means it is not Swatantra, it depends upon somebody else. And karma is done at a particular time, it ends in that time. But the result which is gained, it is gained at a different place, at a different time. So he said something which is dependent, something which is inert, does not have this intelligence to go and find the Karta at a different place, at a different time, and then give this Karma Phala. So that's why Bhagavan said there has to be somebody who is giving Karma Phala different from karma. So one option is removed now. What was that option? Why can't karma itself give Karma Phala? So he said Karma Phala is inert. It doesn't have this intelligence to find the Karta at a different place, at a different time. But over here, there is one sadhana pointer also. You see this Apoorva, which is mentioned, that is a Purva Mimamsakata. Apoorva means whatever actions we do, those actions form some kind of an impression. Those impressions later on present to us as Karma Phalas. Meaning what? Bhagavan says, this is the beauty of action. Independent of this discussion, Ishwara Siddhi Parkarnam, this is a sadhana pointer in and through this discussion. He says, the beauty of action is, the more we start doing it, the easier it starts getting. More we start doing an action, that action forms Apoorva, and that Apoorva will again come back to help us in that action. Now, this is true for all actions, including sadhana. Whatever sadhana we want to do, since in the beginning it will look very difficult. But once we start doing it, we keep repeating it, that Apoorva, which is formed out of that sadhana, will come to help us in doing that sadhana more effectively. If we don't do that, if we don't start only, then whatever vasanas are there, whatever things we already have been doing, they will also keep forming Apoorva. That's why in 3rd chapter, Bhagavan says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthati akarma kruta karyate hi avashah karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. Means there is no option of inaction. Because these gunas are such, they will push us into karmas. And if you are not careful, if you don't channelize it, then it is prakriti jair gunaihi. If rajas is there, it will form rajasic Apoorva. Tamoguna is there, it will form tamoguna related Apoorva. Apoorva by itself is not good or bad. The thing is Apoorva of what? So in Panchadashi, Swami Vidyaranya ji, he says, Apoorva can also form of sadhanas. And he takes the example of meditation. Dharma megham imam prahuhu samadhim yoga vittamaha. So dharma megha means Apoorva. If we continuously do meditation practice, that practice will form samskara of meditation, and that samskara will give the result. An important thing is Apoorva doesn't form overnight, because here only we saw it. It gives result at a different place at a different time. Means slowly and steadily, this sadhaka is putting forth effort to get samskara of nididhyasanam, and he says one day that practice will benefit. Meaning what? It will get easier to sit down and quieten this mind. It will start getting easier to shift attention to Atma. Meditate upon Atma Lakshana. He says that is also Dharma Megha. That is also Apoorva. This is the good side of Apoorva. If we don't start, no Apoorva formed. Bhagavan says that is actually not an option. If we don't start, other things will start. Prakriti jair gunaihi, they will push us into doing things that we don't really want to do. Life will be very distributed in terms of effort. No direction. Whatever gunas say, that the sadhaka will keep doing. But if you are able to channelize it, that same channelized effort will form Apoorva. That Apoorva will bless this sadhaka in and through that sadhana. Okay. Then we had seen the part of connecting Karma Phala to Karma first. Means wherever there is Karma Phala which is seen, there has to be a karma done by a Karta. We saw different examples, right? Either you accept in every place or you reject this in every place. So in part we accept this. We say if I am seeing success, there has to be hard work. If I am seeing some kind of remuneration which is gained, there has to be work done for the month. If I am feeling hunger is satisfied, I should have eaten before. So Karma Phala has connection with Karta. But only thing is, how does this karma find that Karta? That is a discussion over here. Somebody said karma itself can find it. That Bhagavan refuted. Now somebody is saying, why can't Karta himself decide? You said Karma Phala, it is finding the right Karta, right? So why can't Karta decide Karma Phalas? Why do you need Ishwara to decide Karma Phala? That is the point now. Okay, the first one was, why can't Karma decide Karma Phala? Now he is asking, Purva Paksha is asking, why can't Karta decide Karma Phala? Now, wherever you have seen the points, all of them are from here. So if you feel that you already know this, it has been taken from here only. Okay, now you see what is Bhagavan going to say. Before we go there, he says, If doer himself could decide results of action, doer will always choose favorable results. Because Karma Phala, who is deciding now? Karta is deciding. Bhagwan will write one sentence in Bhashya. We have to read it in a different way. When I come to that, I will mention more. Read it means your tone has to be different. He is writing as though it's a dialogue. He says if Karta himself could decide, he would always tell Karma, okay, Karma, I have done this particular karma now. Give me the result that I want. Take any example for that matter. If somebody goes to an interview, right? This person is going inside, does that karma of answering the interview. If he could decide the result, what will he say? I have done this karma, let me get that job. Means he will never choose unfavorable result. Election campaigning, right? So many candidates are there, so many people are contesting the election. Karma Phala is, they want to win the election. If Karta himself could decide, he will say, he will never choose the other result. He will never choose losing. He will always say, I want to win. So Bhagwan's first point is, he says, Karta can never be the one who decides Karma Phala. This we should see in our own different anubhava. Can Karta himself choose Karma Phala? Simple thing like house hunting. We have so many hopes, or we have so many things on our checklist that these criteria should be met. This is what I want. And when we talk to people, so many of them share that we wanted something, but things happened the way it had to happen. Right? If Karta himself could decide, everything he can decide, right? What he wants in terms of Karma Phala. So this is one thing. Bhagwan says Karta cannot be the one who decides Karma Phala because he will never choose unfavorable results. Then he says another reason why Karta cannot be the one who chooses Karma Phala, because Karta is always Alpajna. Alpajna means what? He doesn't really know which karma should give which result. And there are so many nuances of karma. Karma done in a particular place, at a particular time, has a specific effect. So he says Karta does not even know what are those nuances of karma, which Karma Phala should come because of which karma. So he says such an ignorant, limited understanding is there of Karta. How can he go and decide Karma Phalas for himself, not even for others? Because it is Alpajna. Meaning what? There are sometimes some situations where if we can leave things up to Bhagwan, we are actually in safe hands. Because Bhagwan knows, right? He is Sarvajna. Even of Satkarma, he knows which Satkarma should give which result. In Puranas, the stories which come, you see them in this light, something new will open up. Now, all of us have heard the story of Sudamaji, right? What was his karma? What was his request by his wife? We are in need for money. Just go to Bhagwan Krishna. He's your friend, I have heard. You both studied together. Just ask him for some money so we can continue our life. It's with less ups and downs. And she gives him that packet of puffed rice. Now Sudamaji goes there and goes with a pure heart. He says, I have met Bhagwan. If I ask him something, that will be as though making it like a exchange. That Bhagwan, I have met you. Now you give me something back in return. He says, Bhagwan will feel that way. I should not ask anything. And he quietly comes back. And we know that phala of that Bhagavad Darshan was such. Bhagwan said, I will take care of everything. We know the story, right? When he comes back, he sees his entire family well dressed. Everything is perfect. Has his home, in that kutia, suddenly has a mansion. Now that story is to show that Karma Phala Data knows much more than a Jiva. If Sudamaji himself had to ask result of his action, he would have asked for little money, whatever he was told to ask. But he said, you came to me with a pure heart. You don't have to worry about anything else. Different Leelas of Bhagwan, you will appreciate this in beautiful ways. Another is that Phalavali. She has these pomegranate seeds and she gives to Bhagwan, baby Krishna, little hand, he holds it. And by the time he goes inside, because tiny little hands, all those seeds fall out. Again he goes. First time he had given something, second time he goes, he says, that fruit seller says, Bhagwan has come back and all these things have fallen away. Out of love, she gives more and does not take anything. Bhagwan says, you gave me something with a pure heart, and she looks back, finds everything filled with gold. Her entire basket of pomegranates was filled with gold. Means a particular karma, if Jiva had to decide the result, Jiva is Alpajna. How does it know what is the greatness of which karma? In particular, Satkarma. So Bhagwan says over here, we are in actually safe hands if we can actually give everything in Bhagwan's hands. He is Sarvajna. He knows actually which karma will bring which result. Same point Bhagwan is mentioning in Bhashya now. This one line is a dialogue. You have to read it in a different tone. Okay. Kartaiva phalakale prayokte tichet maya nivartitosi tvam prayokshe phalayayat atma anurupam phalamiti na desha kala nimitta vishesha anabhijñatvat yadihi karta deshadi vishesha abhijñah san swatantrena karmani yunjat tatah anishta phalasya aprayokta syat karta eva phalakale prayokta iti chet. If karta alone is going to decide the karma phala, then what will happen? He says, karta will say this line, maya nivartitosi. Hey karma, I have done you now. I have finished this karma now. Tvam prayokshe. Now I order you. Phalayayat atma anurupam phalamiti. Please go and give me that phalam which is favorable to me. He says, karta will make statements like this, that whatever is favorable, that should come back to me. When we were studying, whenever there were festivals or different occasions, right, there will be something or the other students will put together, which will be adhyatmic in some way and also semi-entertaining. So one of the activities that the students had done was to have samvada between Purva Paksha and Uttar Paksha. So all these dialogues were taken and it was made into a skit. Different people were there and one Purva Paksha asking one question and it will end with like this. Karta eva phalakale prayokta iti chet. If that prayokta says like this, then what is your answer? Then that Uttar Paksha will give their answer. Then Purva Paksha again will ask their answer. So it's a nice way to internalize the message. What is Bhagwan trying to tell here? He says, Karta alone cannot be phala prayokta. That is one reason. He says, na desha kala nimitta vishesha anabhijñatvat. What is the reason? First reason is, Karta does not know what is desha, what is kala, prabhava on karma. The effect that desha has, effect that kala has. Important thing to note here is, Brahma Vidya doesn't have any kind of association with desha kala. If one has to do Shravanam, it doesn't matter which direction you are facing. It doesn't matter which time of the day you are starting your Shravanam. Because Brahma is Desha Kala Atirikta. He is beyond Desha, beyond Kala. He is only, just to indicate, don't think Brahman is a person. Brahman is beyond Desha, Brahman is beyond Kala. But if you want to do karma, karma has deep association with Desha, a very strong association with Kala. So that's why it matters if you visit a temple in a particular location at a particular muhurta. Right? Because Desha also matters, Kala also matters. But when it comes to Brahma, Desha does not matter, Kala does not matter. So here he is telling, Bhagavan is saying, Desha Kala Nimitta Vishesha Anabhijñatvat. Karta does not know Desha Kala association. Yadi hi Karta Deshadi Vishesha Abhijñah. If at all this Karta was knowing all this Desha and Kala, everything, he would live his life in such a way that he will never ask for Anishta Phala. Swatantrena karma niyunjat tataha Anishta Phalasya aprayokta syat. He will never seek Anishta Phala, but still they come to us. That means what? Karta is not the decider of Karma Phala. Arjuna, karmani eva adhikara. Phale adhikara kadachana nasti eva. Same verse. Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Kadachana Bhagavan says. Never ever does Karta have adhikara over result. Another reason why Karta cannot be the chooser of results is there can be two jivas who are seeking two different karma phalas at a given time. For example, there is a farmer. He is having a drought and he is seeking rain. So one jiva is seeking karma phala of rain. Now there could be another person who is having some celebration, some festival, and he is praying for no rain. Right? He says, at least today, Bhagwan, please let there be no rain. It's an open air event that we are doing. So two jivas at the same time praying for two different phala. So Bhagwan says, if I leave it up to jivas, there will be a lot of chaos. So one karma phala data who gives karma phala according to the karmas. Okay. Now this point, when we reflect more, we'll come to this conclusion. It's a deep conclusion about our own life, the way we look at situations in life. What is it? That when it comes to results, we are only receivers, we are not choosers. When it comes to results, we are not choosers, but we are only receivers. A simple reason is we have never chosen sorrow, but still it comes. Never chosen pain, still it comes. Now somebody might say, how do you say I'm not a chooser? Why do you say I am not a chooser? Because this question comes in our mind. Last time it came when we had this discussion during fundamentals of Vedanta. Same points we had covered, but in a different way, without looking at Bhashya. Now somebody said, I can choose which car I want to buy. Right? This statement, blanket statement, is not true. I can go to the storeroom and see which all cars are there. And whatever I want to buy, I can choose. And that Sadhaka gave many examples. He said, there are many instances where I can fully choose whatever I want. So Vedanta will say, look at that experience very carefully. Even that is not 100% true. Many a times we want something, even the car, but before we have gotten it, something else has happened, it has changed, somebody else took it. So that statement is also not 100% true, that we can choose every decisions or every objects also. But let us say somebody is choosing it. what experience I will get through that car. What sukham it will give, how much dukkham it will give, no matter who that person is, they cannot choose. And I heard from another sadhaka, they purchased a car, everything looked good in the storeroom. The moment they drove it on a freeway, road noise, so loud inside, he said, that anubhava, no matter what you do, you cannot avoid it now. And different experiences that will come from that particular object. So the important point is, what Bhagwan is saying is, when it comes to results, when it comes to anubhava from that object, we are not choosers. That same object can give joy to one person, same object can give sorrow to some other person. So this we have to again see carefully. Any choices that we have made, even if it is a friend, many times people feel that way. Why can't we choose our friends? You see, you can choose, but even there you see carefully the experience which will come from that friend. Sukha and dukkha, in that we have no choice. Right? Sometimes, no matter how much you try, it will give one or the other experience. So that we have to again reflect upon that when it comes to results, Bhagwan says we are receivers, not choosers. Now, the other side of this particular understanding is, Bhagwan says in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, such kind of understanding brings peace in our life. Dhyanat karma phala tyagaha, tyagat shantihi anantaram. Karma phala tyaga means what? Whatever karma phala is coming, understanding this point that I am only a receiver, not a chooser. But most importantly, the one who is giving this karma phala, he is my well-wisher. I might be Alpajna, but Bhagwan is Sarvajna. So whatever he decides, even if I am unable to figure out why this thing is happening in this way, he says Bhagwan knows why it is happening in that way. In entire story of Ayodhya Kanda, whatever we are seeing right now, right? The portion where Bhagwan is sent to the forest. Many of them over there are feeling, why is this thing happening in this way? Why is Bhagwan being sent to the forest at this particular time? But he says Sarvajna Bhagwan has some other plan. In the bigger picture, everything fits in place. And Bhagwan in 12th chapter puts this kind of attitude as the supreme most thing. He puts it even greater than meditation. One way to look at it is, even if we study Vedanta for several years, to get this kind of acceptance in life, Bhagwan says is greater than all other accomplishments. Means this should come at some point in sadhaka's life. The acceptance part of Karma Phala. What we otherwise say is Buddhe Phalam Anagraha. Buddhe Phalam means the sign of wisdom is non-insistence. Non-insistence in what? Non-insistence in Karma Phala. Okay. The flip side of this is, when it comes to actions, this sadhaka realizes, I am a contributor, not a controller. When it comes to actions, he realizes, I am only a contributor, I am not the controller. When it comes to results, he realizes, I am only a receiver, not a chooser. Now, how will you understand this? When it comes to actions, we are only contributors, not controllers. You say, whenever we have to work with people, we can only decide few things, even while doing that action. We can contribute in that action. We cannot control even that action. Simple thing, we are planning a vacation, with family somewhere. Now, planning that trip is part of action, right? But even in and through that action, very quickly we should realize we cannot control everybody. Who will think what? Who will do what? None of that is in our control. This is where this sadhaka comes to realize that the real controller is Bhagwan only. One of the names of Bhagwan Vishnu is Karta. In Vishnu Sahasranama, this name comes Karanam Karanam Karta. Vikarta Gahano Guha. Karta means what? Doer. So the real doer is Bhagwan Vishnu. Ishwara alone is the Karta. This individual cannot even say confidently, I am the Karta. Because very quickly he has to realize this. He is only a contributor, not a controller. And I was curious when this name came in Vishnu Sahasranama, Karanam, Karanam Karta, Vikarta, Gahano Guha. What has Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji elaborated about Karta? How has he explained the word Karta? So I looked at Bhashya, what has Bhagwan said. He has only defined Karta as Swatantram Karta. The one who is fully independent, that person is Karta. This is the definition of Karta. Prathama Vibhakti, when we say Prathama Vibhakti is Karta, Panini Maharshi also has said Swatantra Karta. The one who can decide whatever he wants, that is Karta. Now you see whether we can actually apply the definition to Jiva. Can Jiva say, I am Swatantra in all ways, even in doing karma? That is this understanding. Jiva should say, I have Swatantra, but that Swatantra is only limited to our individual unfoldment. When it comes to working with our mind, overcoming our own tendencies, in that Bhagwan says, Jiva has Swatantra. But karma is not only that, right? Karma also includes several other jivas. So Bhagwan says, even in that action of working with other jivas, this individual jiva is not Swatantra. But when it comes to working on his own self, there this jiva is Swatantra. You see, in Bhagavad Gita, there is only one verse where Bhagwan has as though hinted that even for individual unfoldment, we are, in this way of gunas. In second chapter, Bhagwan says, third chapter, I think, right? He says, what is the point in doing nigraha? Nigraham kim karishyati? Swabhava only pushes us into actions. What is the point in doing nigraha so much? But there, how did we understand? That it looks as though our swabhava is pushing us into actions. Means if we don't take care of it, even self-improvement will look like it is not in our hands. Right? Because swabhava is so powerful, it will take over our life and it will make us feel as though even adjustments in our own sadhana is not in our hands. So Bhagwan says, Arjuna, don't come under this way of raga dvesha. With that, you will be able to overcome that swabhava. In that way, we had understood it. And whatever we saw in the beginning of the class, this Apoorva which is formed, it needs certain actions first. If you don't invest those actions, other samskaras are waiting to form that Apoorva. So when it comes to our own unfoldment, Bhagwan says we have freedom. But when it comes to actions, we are only contributors, not controllers. This, if you want to see, in our Purana, it is mentioned in Samudra Manthanam story. The main essence of that story is Bhagwan is real Karta. The whole purpose of Ajita avatar of Bhagwan is to show that I am the real Karta. You see, right from the beginning, the friendship between Devatas and Asuras, who formed it? Bhagwan formed it. He only gave that idea. To Indra Bhagwan, he said, go and make a pact with Raja Bali. They were not ready in the beginning. Devata said, we should go and make friendship with Asuras. Bhagwan said, just do what I'm telling you. And then they went to bring the Meru mountain. They carried it for some time, fell down. Bhagwan said, I only have to carry it. Kept it in that ocean, Milky Ocean. Started sinking. Bhagwan said, I have to take Kachapa Avtara. How are you going to churn it now? Bhagwan entered into Vasuki Sarpa as Nidra. Vasuki, if she was awake, you think she will allow churning to happen? So Bhagwan entered as Nidra. And finally, everything that happened, even Amrutam, Bhagwan says, I am the real Karta. All Jivas are contributors. So these are two facets of this whole part of Bhashya, what we just saw. Now there are two other viewpoints which are again being refuted. What are we discussing right now? How does that karma find karma, appropriate Karta to give Karma Phala? Karma was done at a particular time. How did it again become Karma Phala and find that Karta? Okay, so karma directly going and finding Karma Phala, that is refuted. Karta himself deciding Karma Phala, that is refuted. Now the third option is there. These are two darshanas. They say, why can't karma find Karma Phala with time? Means why can't karma itself transform into Karma Phala with time and then come to find that Karta? There is no separate nimitta needed. They say just like things change with time, karma also changes with time and becomes Karma Phala. And they give an example also. They say just like how skin wrinkles in time, there is no separate reason which is there, right? As time passes, the skin wrinkles. He says in that way, this karma transforms into Karma Phala. This will directly read. Nacha nirnimittam tat anichaya atma samavetam tat charmavat vikaroti karma. Atma samavetam means they agree that karma is finding shelter in Karta. Atma samavetam means that. Samavayi sambandha is there between karma and Karta. But there is no separate Karma Phala data needed. They say this Atma Samavayi karma which is there, that itself will transform into Karma Phala. Even you don't need Karta, you don't need any other nimitta also. Bhagavan says no. Nacha nirnimittam. Without a nimitta, tat anichaya. Without even having Karta's readiness or willingness to give some Karma Phala. Atma samavetam tat charmavat vikaroti karma. This karma cannot directly transform into Karma Phala, just like this skin example that you are giving. He says even that is sanimitta only. That is the other meaning of this. That even the changes that happen at body level, according to Vedanta we say, it is because of karma only. Of course, even if you look at it more from a material standpoint, you will say the cell's age, some nimitta is there. You cannot say nirnimitta, with time only this skin change into wrinkles. You say nirnimitta is not possible. So Karma Phala, if it has come, it should have some Karma Phala data. Now next one is very interesting. This is Kshanika Vijnana. In Kshanika Vijnana, what is the definition of Atma? Atma is Kshanika. So they have a major problem in Karma Siddhanta. Why? Because Karta has done karma and that Karta is gone. Some new Karta has come. Now they say, where is your karma staying? If your karma was staying in Karta, that Karta has already gone. And how is it giving Karma Phala? To a different Karta, there will be so many fallacies which are coming. So he says, even that is not possible. Nacha Atma Krutam Akartru Samavetam. The previous one was Atma Samavetam, Mimamsaka Darshana. This is Kshanika Vijnana. They say karma and karta don't have samavayi sambandha. Means karma does not stay in karta, but they accept karma siddhanta. Bauddha darshana we had seen. They accept karma siddhanta, but because karta is kshanika, they say it is akartru samavetam. Akartru samavetam. Then how does it pull karma phalas? This is just like a magnet pulls iron filings. Means it is momentary. At a given time, that karta who is there, he will pull karma phalas to himself. Ayaskanta manivat akrushtu bhavati. Akrushtu na bhavati. So na should come here. So karma cannot pull these karma phalas just like a magnet is pulling. And you are accepting this fact also that karma is not residing in karta. Pradhana kartru samavetatvat karmana. Karma always resides in karta. Okay, you cannot say that this karma is randomly pulling this karma phalas like a magnet is pulling those iron filings. It has to remain in karta, and you need some other karma phala data. Now, next one is also interesting. This is Charvak Darshan. All darshanas these are their ideas about how does karma phala come. Charvak Darshana says, why can't we say karma phala resides in elements? Because Charvak Darshana is pratyakshavadi. They say whatever you see through physical eyes, ears, pratyaksha pramana alone is the valid means of knowledge. They say karma phala, we agree that it comes at a later point. Like they say, if you work hard today, success will come maybe 15 years later. So where did it stay in between? They say all the karma stayed in the elements themselves. Because they don't have an option. Right? They don't accept subtle body. They accept only gross. So it has to stay somewhere in gross only. So they say in these elements only karmas, they stay and they give karma phala. Bhagavan say, what are you saying? Have you ever seen any inert thing going and accomplishing some karma by itself? And after it has accomplished karma, is it telling whatever it has accomplished that, you go and do something else now? Means go and give karma phala to somebody else. He says, no, all these elements are inert. They are only an instrument. Instrument cannot become the decider of karma phala. This is bhutashrayamiti chet. If you say karma phalas have ashraya in bhuta. Bhuta means Pancha Mahabhuta. Bhutashrayamiti chet na sadhanatvat. Pancha Mahabhutas are only sadhana. They cannot decide karma phala. Kartru kriyayaha sadhana bhutani kriya kale anubhuta vyaparani samaptav. All these elements which are there, they are only a sadhana for the kriya of kartu. Means the doer will use all these bhutas which are there as an instrument. Kriya kale anubhuta vyaparani. All these actions which are there, they are experienced only when the kriya is going on. Samaptav, when the action ends. Haladevat karta parityaktani. Just like a plow which is there, after that action ends, that plow is left behind. Karta leaves that sadhana, he does not follow up with it after that. And such a sadhana which has been left behind by karta, na phalam kalantare kartum utsahante. That sadhana, that instrument, does not get up after some time to go and give karma phala. Utsahante means it is not going to get up after some time and going to say, I am going to give you karma phala. Now he is giving another dialogue here. Nahi kshetradin vrihin gruham praveshayati. Means after the harvest has been done, the plow does not take the harvest and reach the home and make it reach the home. If karma phala has to be done, it cannot be done by an inert entity. If karma phala has to be attained, it cannot be attained through an inert entity. Halam means that plow. Na halam kshetradin vrihin gruham praveshayati. It does not make the grains enter the house. Very simple examples are there, but he says appreciate this point that inert thing cannot be karma phala data. The whole point is this. Bhuta karmanoscha achetanatvat swatah pravritti anupapatti. Because all these bhutas are achetana, they are inert, they cannot have their own individual independent pravritti. Their actions cannot be independent. They say, how do you say that? Because I can give an example. Purva Pakshi is saying, Vayuvad iti chet, air is inert or not? It is inert. But you are seeing pravritti of air. Air is making the leaf move around. So how can you say there is no pravritti in achetana vastu? So here Bhagwan says asiddhatvat. Asiddhatvat means you have to first establish this fact that achetana vastu has pravritti. Then only you can say Vayu also has pravritti of its own. Nahi vayoho achiti matah swatah pravrittihi siddha. Of this Vayu, which is achetana, its swatah pravritti is not siddha. Meaning what? You have to make the tarka rachana. You have to make a pratijna. What is pratijna? Achetanaha. If you just put it over here in the same line, it will be Achetanat achetane swatah pravritti asti. Means in achetana, there is swatah pravritti. This is your pratijna. Then you have to find hetu for it. What hetu will you give? Then you have to find an example for it. He says in examples like Ratha and all, you don't find it. So your Vyapti Khandanam will happen. You will not get the appropriate data to make that particular logic. So you cannot take Vayu as an example. That's all he wants to say. Because it doesn't have Tarka Rachana yet, it is not Siddha. You can try to think if you can come up with some logic and do Khandanam of this. All these points are what is said earlier. Okay, this up till now so far so good, right? We have refuted karma, refuted karta, refuted nirnimitta. The two things which came, they were nirnimitta. They said just with time you will get karma phala. Mimamsaka darshana and kshanika vijnana. We have also refuted bhuta matra. Elements themselves becoming karma phalas, that is also gone. Now comes another darshan. Very beautiful one. This is called as Prauda Mimamsaka. They are little bit deep Mimamsakas who take Shastra Pramana as the main source of knowledge. They take every Vakya in Vedas as Pramana. They come to Bhagwan Shankaracharya and say, for Ishwara Siddhi, Shastra alone is Pramana. And you see what Shastras are saying. Shastra says, Swarga Kamo Yajeta. Means if you want Swarga, do Yajna. So he says, Shastra says, Karma alone is going to give you the result. There is no separate Karma Phala Data who is needed. Otherwise, here they would say, Bhagwan will give Swarga. Here it is said, Yajna will give Swarga. Swarga Kamo Yajeta. You do Yajna, that Yajna will take you to Swarga. This is what are you saying that there is need for another Karma Phala Data? That Karma Phala Data will give some results of action. In your own Upanishads, it is said Karma gives result of actions. There is no need for separate Ishvara. This is Prauda Mimamsaka. And they also raise another objection. They say until now, you are using Arthapatti Pramana. Arthapatti means what? You see certain result and you say, without this particular thing being the cause, such a result is not possible. What was the example? If you see the entire ground wet, Arthapatti Pramana example. If you see the entire ground wet, you say without it having rained yesterday, such a result is not possible. Nobody can hose pipe it nobody can do any other thing by which entire ground will be wet. So how did we do Arthapati Pramana here? If at all we are seeing Karma Phala and it is coming at a different time, different place, it has to be some entity which is Sarvajna, which knows the Prabhava of Desha and Kala on Karma. So this Purva Mimamsaka says, don't you know, for Ishwara Siddhi, Pramana is Veda. You are using Pramana of Arthapatti. For Ishwara Siddhi, Pramana is Veda, and you see what Vedas are saying. Swarga Kamo Yajeta. Karma alone gives Karma Phala. We don't need another Ishwara to give Karma Phala. Look at the nuances of what he is raising an objection about. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji conveniently as though ignores this question and starts on a different topic. He says, I will explain what are the different types of karmas first, based on the type of results that they produce. Based on Karma Phalas, he is going to elaborate what are the different types of karmas which are there, and then he is going to come to this point. Okay? Don't lose the chain of thought. This is the main question he is asking. He says, your pramana for Ishwara Siddhi should be Vedas. And you used Arthapatti Pramana. If you go according to Vedas, this is what Vedas say. Swarga Kamo Yajeta, Yajna will give Karma Phala. No need for separate Ishwara. So Bhagwan is going to refute this. But being a master, he starts with a broader picture. So today, we have only 5 minutes. Let us see. We will just see the explanation part of it. Next session, we'll see Bhashya. Now, Bhagwan is classifying karmas based on their type of their results. So he says one type of karma is called as Drishta Phala Karma. Another is called as Adrushta Phala Karma. Careful here, these are actually names of karma. Drishta Phala is the name of that karma. Okay, Adrushta Phala is name of that karma. But how is this classification made? Based on the type of the results. Okay. So what is Drishta Phala Karma? Name itself says. Those actions whose results are seen by the doer. Those actions whose results are seen by the doer. He knows that I had done this action and this is a result which has come because of that action. More category will be there, but you just classify this into two first. Drishta Phala and Adrushta Phala. What is Adrushta Phala? Actions whose results are unseen right now. Action whose results are unseen right now. And when the result comes, I am unable to correlate because of which action this result has come. There are so many results which are coming, right? We don't know which karma we have done because of which this particular result has come. This is, there are two types of actions. One is Drishta Phala Karma, another is Adrushta Phala Karma. Okay? Drishta Phala, whose results are seen by the doer. Adrushta Phala are those actions whose results are unseen right now. And later on when it comes, it is not possible to correlate which karma gave that particular result. He says there are two types. Within Drishta Phala, he says there are two more subcategories. Okay. One is called as Anantara Phala Karma. Second is called as Kalantara Phala Karma. Very simple, meaning is, only in Sanskrit it looks like, oh, so technical word. Okay, within Drishta Phala, the results, the actions which we are seeing, within that there are two categories. Anantara Phala Karma is that, Anantara Phala Karma is those actions which end by producing the result. That action which ends by producing the result right then and there. There is no antara in its phala. That is why it is anantara. Immediately it produces a result and it ends. Second category is kalantara phala. Actions which end without giving the result. Result will come at a later time, but it is drushta. I know which result, which action I had done, and it will give that particular result. Okay. But again, pay attention here. Anantara Phala is name of karma. Kalantara Phala is name of karma. Categorization is done based on type of results. Okay. Everybody with me? Anantara Phala and Kalantara Phala. Now he says examples of Anantara Phala. One is walking. You see how it fits this, huh? Action that ends by producing the result. You start walking. By the time you have finished walking, by the time that karma ends, the result also is produced. Means you have reached wherever you have to go. So that is example of Anantara Phala. That you are doing the action and the action ends by producing the result. Eating is another example, he says. While you are eating, action has started. By the time you finish eating, it fills you up. So the result of eating is attained right when that action ends. So this is called as Anantara Phala Karma. Now he says, Kalantara Phala Karma also has two categories. Imagine, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is talking to Purva Mimamsaka, who is a master of all types of karmas. So he's talking to him in the same vocabulary. He says Kalantara Phala has two categories. One is called as Atmadhina, another is called as Sevyadhina. Atmadhina means what? Those actions which Karta himself, decides. Karta himself, lot of decisions that Karta makes, that only brings Kalantara result. For example, farming. Whatever seed has to be sown, at what time it should be sown, what type of soil is there, how to switch between the soil types, crop types, all of that Karta only decides. But because he has sown the seed now, result is not gained right on that day. It is Kalantara Phala. It comes at a later point, but he says it is Atmadhina. It depends upon that Krushaka, the one who is doing the farming. He can decide many things about that Kalantara Phala. I hope by now you can appreciate the difference between Kalantara Phala and Adrushta Phala. Adrushta also comes at a later time, but you cannot correlate which action was done because of which that result came. But over here, Atmadhina, you can correlate that because this seed was sown, that particular crop alone I will get. And who decides which seed to sow? He says Krushaka decides. Sevyadhina is action is done by the individual, but result depends upon Sevya. Sevya means at whose altar this seva is done. Atmadhina means, adhina means depending upon. Okay. So Atmadhina depends upon the individual. Atma here doesn't mean Sachidananda Atma, the Krushaka, the farmer. Sevyadhina means the one who is being served. That person will decide what result has to come. So for example, working. Right? Somebody is working for somebody. So that alter, the person for whom we are working, that person will decide. Right? Different things about whatever this person, Sevaka, has to get. That Savior decides. He says this is another type of Kalantara Phala Karma. Now this elaboration he gives, right? Finally he says, your Yajna Yagadi, they are Sevyadhina type of karmas. In Sevyadhina type of karmas, Karmaphala has to come by another entity which is Karmaphala Data. He says, whatever logic you gave me until now, that Ishwara Siddhi is done because of Upanishad Pramana, you are using Arthapatti Pramana. He says, don't let go of logic which is very evident. Drishta Nyaya Hana should not happen. This is a logical thing that we see in this world. Don't let go of this and then hold on to some other chain of thought. So he says, even for karmas like Sevyadhina Kalantara karma, you need another Karma Phala Data. What to talk about Swargadi, karmas? That yajna needs another Karma Phala Data who will give that Karma Phala. And if it is Anantara Phala Karma or Atmadhina Karma, that karma itself, will produce a result right away. Of course, there also you need Karma Phala Data. But for this Purva Paksha, he's just putting it in that point. He says, if you do eating or if you are walking, you don't wait for Karma Phala Data to give result later. That karma ends by producing result. Even Atmadhina Kalantara Phala Karma, that also ends, or that also has majority of the decision making with the Karta about Karma Phala. But he says, Sevyadhina Karma Phalas which are there, they need another Karma Phala Data. Okay. If we understand this, Bhashya will become very easy. That we will see in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. These points we will not get anywhere else. Only in this Bhashya, so much of elaboration is there. And that too given from a Vedanta student's perspective. Elaboration of such type of karma, it might be there in Purvamimamsaka Darshana. But we don't study Purvamimamsaka Darshana. So whatever we need, only that part Bhagavan takes and gives us. Okay.